Welcome to the Dave Palma Show, the podcast that revives, restores, and awakens your innermost capabilities.
You have the training and the talent to succeed, but do you have the guts to fail?
I love what I do. When you love what you do, you want to be the best at it.
Today is about the power of you. You will change the world.
Find your path to success through the journey of those who have succeeded. And now, your host, Dave Palma.
Hi, welcome back to the Dave Palma Show. In this episode, I have someone who found fame as an entertainer and then was told he had 3 years to live. He's going to share his story of how he found fame as an entertainer, right up to the point where he found 3 years to live, had 3 years to live, or was told that, and then we'll find out what he did next. Kevin Roth, welcome to the Dave Palma Show.
Well, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure having you, Kevin. So, Kevin, that's an interesting story. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer and now in remission or undetectable. So, obviously, and that was within a few months actually before they even finished the treatment. So, there is hope for a lot of people out there. That's not to say I'm out of the woods yet, but obviously, you know, we'd like people like yourselves to share a story of how you managed to beat and survive cancer. Not only that, but obviously inspire people. You're a life coach as well as internationally renowned musician. So please do share your story from the beginning before you became a musician. You know, your humble beginnings and right up to the point of your turning point in life and what you do now.
Well, I started to have a recording career in 1972. I was 16. I had discovered an instrument called the mountain dulcimer and had become involved in folk music. And I'd been born with a gift for music. Yeah. And also, I was born fairly spiritual. I was always aware that there was something going on outside of this so-called universe, but I didn't quite know where it was, just based on the fact that I didn't know where all the music was coming from.
Right. Okay.
No talented was.
But that was your calling.
That was pretty much my calling. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a successful career musically. I went into folk music, and then I did family children's entertainment, and the idea for me was to become rich and famous, and that would make me happy. So after a lot of years of going for that and achieving that, I found out I wasn't happy, but I had some money in the bank. So as I say, my checking account had a lot of zeros at the end of it, but my soul didn't. And I guess it was 2016, sort of out of the blue, I was diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma on a routine dermatology appointment. And I had moved from Florida. I had moved to the Midwest. I was working on a new album. And this really hit me like a ton of bricks in a sense. I had a cognitive experience years earlier that told me that there was going to be something coming up. And by the way, I write about all of this in my new book, which will be out around December, January, called Between the Notes.
Right.
So
okay.
I document all of this in that book. It's also an audio book too, by the way, because songs are included in each chapter. So
right. Yeah. Well, this episode is actually coming out in January. So the book will be out by the time this is out. So people can go and buy it now.
Yeah,
as they're listening now.
Yeah, and it's not that I'm really pushing the book. It's just that I go into greater detail, which is far more interesting. At least the people who've read it tell me that.
Yeah, I know.
So what happened is when I got hit with cancer, as you know, it changes everything because you suddenly begin to say, I'm out of time. And what was my life about and what's going on and everything. So it humbles you, and it's a wake-up call. And I say in the book, I say, when people used to say, oh, cancer was the greatest gift I ever received, I thought that they were just full of crap. But it is, because it really, I mean, I don't wish it on anyone, although 1 out of every 2 people get cancer.
Yeah. So that's quite a high number.
Yeah, 50% of them. Yeah. So, so I had to do some deep digging. And I realized that what had brought my cancer on was stress and inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
Because both work against your immune system.
Yeah.
And so I changed the way I looked at my life, and I said, I'm not going to live this stressful, musical, career-driven, money-oriented life. And I was going to go back out to California, where I lived years and years ago, and just live my life as an artist and a bohemian, and see what happens.
Yeah.
And as I did that, a friend of mine said, you should become a life coach. And I said, what's that? And they told me.
Some people still don't know what it is.
Yeah, so that's why I don't call myself much of a life coach. I have a business called Creative Life Design.
Yeah.
So what I do is I teach people what I've learned, which is how to really look into what matters to you, why it matters to you,
yeah,
and then to change your life so that you're living an authentic, happy life.
Mm-hmm.
What a coach does, and in a sense I am a coach, is I work with people on a weekly basis, and I look at what they're doing with their life, the problems they're having, and I show them different perspectives and gear them towards, is this what you want?
Yeah.
Always they come to me, no, it's not what I want. And then there's a process with the client of discovering what it is they want.
Yeah.
And then showing them how to get it.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's all coaching anyway. At the end of the day, I mean, as I say, I was from the sports background, and that's where coaching first, kind of started, if you like. I'm sure coaching was around before even coaching for sports, but it's about getting someone to where they want to be, really, isn't it? Really, and sort of guiding them there, if you like. So, but yeah, tell us a bit more then about your journey in music before the diagnosis and your reaction and response. I know you did touch on it a little bit, but let's kind of like just get people walking in your shoes about life with Kevin.
Life with Kevin musically was, music is very healing.
Mm-hmm.
Years and years later, I came up with something called Dulce meditation. So for people who are interested in learning how to do a type of a meditation with the dulcimer, they can go to my website, kevinroth.org. And I even sell dulcimers on there. But music was always a meditative process for me, not in the sense of crossing my legs and closing my eyes, but in the sense of soothing me.
Yes.
But the key principle with me was that I was always searching for something, and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And what it ended up being was really finding my spiritual connection to, you could call it God or Buddha or whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. It's an absolute. And I thought that music would lead me there, because music is a sort of a nice expression of how you feel. And music's very healing.
Yeah.
But I thought that the fame and the fortune would be the key to making me feel more peaceful and secure and opening doors. And it did. I mean, I was on television. I sang the theme to a hit PBS TV show, Shining Time Station. I got to meet a lot of my musical heroes and friends of mine. I played everything from small folk clubs to major concert halls. But I never quite found the answer. I talk about in the book that I was playing a concert at the theater where The Wizard of Oz premiered. It was in the Midwest. And how taken I was by seeing my own name on the marquee and the red velvet seats and all that. And the concert went well, and we ended with an encore, of course, of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And, I was making a lot of money, and I went back to the hotel and I was miserable. I thought, why, after a great performance, I mean, during the performance, I'm always happy. But when I went back to the hotel, there's a loneliness of a vagabond's life.
Yeah, yeah.
And it took me a lot of years to figure it out. I had some fun along the way, but when the tire, the rubber hits the road, what I really wanted was inner peace and happiness.
Is that? I mean, true. What they say then, really, that in entertainment and music, some people say it can be lonely. Is that true then for musicians, or is that just what you felt?
I think it depends on the musician.
Yeah.
I was always kind of a reclusive kind of guy. I didn't drink.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do drugs. I didn't hang out.
I
performed with one or two people in a band at most. So some musicians, they just travel around and they have a lot of fun and they're on a tour bus and they have a family around them in a sense.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't.
Like movie stars, if you like.
I know a lot of people who are very, very famous and very rich, and they're not any happier than you or I.
Yeah.
So, in fact, in many cases, these people that I'm thinking of are less happy because they're recognized and only as big as your last hit record.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Because I did track, they say you're as good as your last race, or if you're a boxer, you're as good as your last fight, or whatever it is. Get your last game. And that's kind of right.
Yeah, at the end of the day, though, no matter how many races you've won or records you've had or movies you've made, are you happy?
Yeah.
And what is happiness? That's the question. How do you find happiness that lasts? And the only way to do that I know of is to be authentic and to have some sort of a spiritual grounding, and it could be, and when I say spiritual, I don't mean religious. You could be an atheist.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
In the woods, but you've got to know yourself, and a lot of people don't want to know themselves. They're afraid to look because they've come from broken places.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much spirituality. It's pretty much you're looking at yourself and your own journey, your own personal development journey, really, isn't it? Irrespective of what.
Yeah, it goes deeper. It's really interesting because we think that we're this human body. But if you look at the human body under an electron microscope, you really discover that you're atoms. You're made up of atoms. So you're not solid.
Yeah.
Well, what are atoms? Atoms are empty. So are we empty? Do we exist? They say the universe is expanding, but into what? Mm-hmm. And then the sages and the scientists all agree, and they say, well, everything is consciousness. There's really no physical mind that you can hold. So where is the mind? So you begin to question these things. At least I did, and I thought that what they say is true. I guess this world really is an illusion. So if it's an illusion and it seems to be a dream and it's very temporary, where did I come from and where do I go? Who am I? What is? So most people don't look at that because it confuses them when they're just dealing with their daily lives, which causes a lot of ups and downs. But when you look at that question, you find the answer, and then those ups and downs calm down. So all the clients who come to me, they come in a state of either anger or fear or confusion, and that all goes away with me. Well, with them, they do the work, but I explain it through my own journey. And then they look at it and they go, I guess that really does make sense,
Yeah.
And their lives change.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the way there's two expressions I use. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And also when you replace what doesn't work with what does work, you never go back. So, I'm happier now than I was ever. And I don't have as much money. I'm I think I'm getting a little more well-known because of this work. But none of that really matters. What matters to me is that I'm doing something authentically helping other people, and at the same time helping myself.
Sure, yeah. Okay. Okay, well, let's fast forward then to the point where you discovered or you got told about the diagnosis. What happened just before that and to the point, how did it kind of get discovered, and what did you do?
It was on a dermatology appointment. I had a little dark freckle, and he
Right.
sent me for an
Not a
biopsy.
mole. You're not talking about a mole.
No, it was a
Uh,
freckle.
yeah.
Uh, it wasn't a mole. It wasn't raised. I don't know. Well, anyway, it was a dark spot, a little tiny dark spot on my nose,
Yeah.
and I had a biopsy done of it, and they said that it was in situ, which means that it was not quite cancer, but they needed to remove it so that it didn't become cancer. But the pathology report was wrong. It actually was.
Oh, right.
So a couple months after that little surgery, I discovered a lump under my chin, and then a biopsy on that, and then they said, you've had melanoma and this is stage 3. So the confusing part of it, besides being, very afraid, which is what is a normal reaction when you get diagnosed with these things,
Yeah.
is that what the oncologists, because I interviewed 3 or 4 of them, told me in my gut, I knew was wrong. They wanted to take out lymph nodes. They wanted to do all these basically mutilations. And my gut, and I always teach, trust your gut, said no. So I found an oncologist who said, I agree with you. There's no cure for melanoma. There is for prostate cancer, but there is none for melanoma. So I think we should just wait. There isn't any now because they x-rayed me and they said, there's no signs of it. So if it's going to come back, there's a 70% chance it'll return within a year. And then you've got 2 or 3 years to live. And it never came back. So I told my oncologist, I said, I'm leaving. I'm going to California. And if it shows up, I'll find deal with it there. At least in California, they have assistance if you want to die. In Kansas, they don't do that.
Oh, right. I see.
So, and there's also the natural healing part of cancer. There's people who've cured themselves through nutrition. So you have to really weigh the Western and the Eastern and make up your own mind. But I'm very wary of all doctors. Just because they wear a white coat and they, I don't trust them. I trust me.
Yeah.
I did a lot of research, and I ended up with an oncologist that I was very happy to work with and very grateful. I talk about all that in the book too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I see that you mentioned that stress was one of the key things, or stress management, and also that you lost a lot of weight. You lost like 30 pounds or something. It's quite a lot of weight. But you found some keys to yourself, how you kind of went on the road to beating cancer. Are these all factors that helped?
I think so. Inflammation, being overweight is not good for the immune system.
No.
So I went on a very strict kind of diet at that time, and I lost quite a bit of weight. I gained about half of it back, but that was after, the cancer never returned.
Yeah.
For me, I'm always looking to lose that extra 10 pounds,
Yeah. But you know how to. So that's the main thing.
Yeah, I know how to.
Yeah.
And the stress just causes stress on the immune system.
Mm.
So the key is that you have to dig out from the roots what's causing the stress. So if you have a lot of financial debt, you have to figure out how to minimize that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in not a good relationship or in a place that's bringing you stress, you need to look at that.
Yes.
So there's a lot of different ways that you have to look at that. But the first thing you need to do, and this is what I teach, it's called mindful awareness. You need to be aware about all that. You need to be aware and stressed out.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people aren't aware of that. And like you say about some people on the road and with their family and stuff like that, they're not aware of any of that going on, are they really? Until something does hit them, really. So, but
we have a choice. We have a choice. So every day you wake up and you choose how, you set an intention of, what you want to do and how you want to live your life and what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
The great thing about what I do is that when my students or clients use the techniques I teach, they can eliminate that mind stuff really quickly. So they can look at it and say, I don't need to do that. I can do this instead. In the book, I talk about that there are 11 essential questions to ask yourself. And then there are tools that you can use to really regulate your mind, because everything is the mind.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And I show what to do with that.
Yeah. But of course, there is some physiological and physical stuff as well. Inactivity can also reverse the T cells, which is part and parcel of getting rid of the cancer and stuff like that as well, which people don't know. So, these are all nutrition, like you say, to try and lose weight. Watch the portion size, even, it's just simple as that, maybe. But certainly too much sugar and too much fatty foods or takeaways and junk foods, as they say. I mean, I've been guilty of a little bit of that. Can actually do that as well, put on a lot of weight within a short space of time. You don't realise, do you, really? So these are the things that people have got to watch out for, really.
Yeah, sugar and refined carbohydrates are really deadly. Yeah,
in all different ways. There's lots of diseases that they promote, really. So it's important to look at that area. It's also very addictive, actually, sugar. People don't realise that as well. Actually, it should actually be classed as a drug in the same way as alcohol and cigarettes and things like that. Shouldn't it, really? But still, anyway, let's not divulge into another conversation. So we know what you're doing next. You're doing a bit of coaching and still your music as well. So what's Kevin doing now? What was Kevin Roth all about now?
Well, right now I'm getting ready to record the audio part of the book. Yeah. Then more podcasts and speaking engagements and working with new clients. And
sure.
That's plenty. Yeah.
Well, as I say, this is released in January. So hopefully the people can start looking for the book. What is the name of the book going to be called?
It's called Between the Notes. And it comes with an accompanying album.
Right.
We're working on a subtitle. It's something about finding your inner groove and learning to, live, go with the beat of the dance to your own life so you can find joy.
Yeah, that sounds good. The groove part sounds good. Sounds groovy. But
available on Amazon and all the places that people buy books.
Sure. Yeah. Excellent. Well, Kevin, it's really been a great pleasure having you on the show, and you're giving me inspiration and hope. And I'm sure I've gone the right way in terms of you. I mean, I was getting involved in some coaching because obviously I've been involved with coaches from my youth days as a sports person, but it's the different thing with this mindset stuff, and life in general. It's not the same thing as sports coaching as such, is it? So it's really inspirational having you on the show, and I really, really appreciate you coming on the show and talking about it with today, Kevin.
Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, good luck.
Thank you very much.
That's all for this episode. Thanks for listening, and remember, if you want to support what we do, then share, subscribe, and leave a review over on Apple Podcasts, or head over to my website, davepalmer.com, and click on Rate Show. Well, that's all for now, but I'll see you in the next episode of The Dave Palmer Show.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.